From WTVN TV Columbus, this is Action 6 News with Tom Ryan, Michelle Galian, meteorologist Valerie Voss, and Lonnie Haskins Sports. Now, Nightcast.
And heading up our news, it happened to Patty Hearst and the grandson of billionaire J. Paul Getty, and it almost happened here in Columbus last night.
Our Nightcast reporter Howard Epstein tells us about the daughter of a wealthy industrialist who believes someone wanted to kidnap her.
It had all the elements of a suspenseful mystery thriller. A wealthy heiress, her boyfriend, and an apparent kidnapping attempt late last night here in Columbus. Juliette Wang is the daughter of the founder of Wang Laboratories, a giant Massachusetts computer firm. Wang and her boyfriend thought they had been followed as they drove from Pennsylvania through Ohio, and she feared that she could be the target of an abduction attempt. She called for help on her CB radio, and her message was relayed to Columbus police. Officers checked out her story, but could find no evidence of a kidnapping plot. The young heiress flew home this morning after hiring an off-duty Columbus police officer to guard her hotel room last night. Juliette Wang's story, although bizarre, is not beyond the realm of possibility, according to Alan Holtry, the chief of security at Nationwide Insurance. Fortunately, he says, corporate executives and their families here in Columbus have been relatively immune from life-endangering situations. In fact, the last time a Nationwide executive was the target of a serious threat happened 13 years ago. A former employee claimed to have planted a bomb in the home of a senior vice president here in Columbus, and he threatened to detonate it unless he received a substantial sum of money. The extortion attempt ended 3 days later when FBI agents arrested the man at his Pennsylvania home. He was later convicted and spent 5 years in prison. At Nationwide's corporate headquarters downtown, employees are watched by monitors and protected by guards and silent electronic alarms, but by no means is it Fort Knox. Nor does Alan Holtry think top executives need elaborate security protection for their homes and cars.
Most of our senior people live in fairly close commuting distance from Nationwide. And as I've mentioned here, we do not somehow see an ambush occurring on Route 315 coming south from Upper Arlington.
In general, Holtry advises Nationwide executives to take prudent, common-sense security precautions, the same type of things that you and I do to protect our families and possessions. Howard Epstein, Action 6 News, Nightcast.
A 7-year-old East Side boy clings to life tonight, the victim of an overnight fire that killed his aunt and 2 of her 5 children. It was about 2:30 this morning when fire broke out at 463 Hanley Street. Investigators say it was a short in a cord to a space heater that caused it. 33-year-old Lindell Revels died when she went back in to save her children. 7-year-old Melchizedek and 6-year-old Artista also died. 4 other family members managed to escape unharmed. Lindell's nephew, though, 7-year-old Jedediah Slaughter, was taken to Children's Hospital, where he remains in critical condition tonight.
Of course, death comes in all forms. In Ethiopia tonight, the anguish continues. Relief workers there say at least 120 people are dying of starvation every single day. And the death rate is expected to rise if more food doesn't arrive, and soon. Heather McKenzie tells us tonight that news from that famine-stricken company has especially hit close to home for some East Side people tonight.
The pictures are never easy to look at. Little children starving, hundreds dying every day. But for most of us, the tragedy of Ethiopia is just a very sad news story. Yet for Aklag Beru, it is a miserable reminder of his homeland. Beru was a teacher in Ethiopia, then a fighter battling his Soviet-backed government. And when he realized it would be suicide to stay, he fled, first to the Sudan and then to the United States.
Anybody from all corners of the world, even if he don't want to say it, just to say it out, everybody likes to live in the United States. After all, the United States is just the greatest democracy on earth.
Beru lives in his East Side apartment with his 19-year-old niece, Shashi. He has been here 2 years. He's philosophical about leaving his family members and friends behind. He says all throughout history, people have had to flee their homeland, and he is no exception.
If you close your eyes to history and the heart, it hurts.
Beru says the problems of his country do not start with the latest news reports, but he hopes the attention will bring the world a little closer as nations work together to end the strife. Heather McKenzie, Action 6 News, Nightcast.
Health Watch tonight focuses on the rare but deadly disease known as Reye syndrome. Ohio health officials are now warning parents to know its symptoms. It often strikes children right after they've had the flu or an illness of the respiratory system. Children who have not taken aspirin are reportedly more likely to contract it. Parents should watch for severe vomiting and lethargy when kids are in that recovery stage from those other illnesses we just mentioned. Contact a doctor right away if those symptoms show up. Otherwise, permanent brain damage, even death, could result.
A $61 million lawsuit has been filed against 4 big companies in Pickaway County. The suit was filed on behalf of the Dr. John Bowers estate. Bowers was the dentist who owned a landfill allegedly used by DuPont, GE, PP&G Industries, and Scioto haulers. The landfill's been designated one of the most toxic sites in the whole country. Bowers estate says it wants the companies to help clean it up. No word from the companies tonight on what they will or won't do.
Speaking of toxic things, just ahead, a report out tonight on how alcohol advertising actually affects how much young people drink.
And America goes on a shopping spree. That story next on Nightcast.
Have you ever wondered why Russian women look like men?
Are you earth, wind, or fire? You are a sleazebag, Johnny.
I've always considered myself a fairly macho kind of guy. Who would Bartles bear?
It's Tuppy. Let's go to lunch.
Lunch?
Interesting. I could have been a forest ranger, but I turned it down.
Are you kidding?
Well, will you quit picking on Les?
Tune in to WKRP in Cincinnati weeknights following Action 6 News Nightcast on Channel 6.
Get brand name holiday gifts at TJ Maxx. At 20 to 60% savings. Brand name gifts to dress up a man for under $6. Gifts for men and women under $10. And robes to keep someone warm and cozy for the holidays under $20. For values that can't be beat, get the max for the minimum at TJ Maxx.
Get the max for the minimum at TJ Maxx.
Hey, who's that with Steve? I don't know, but she sure is, Yeah, she sure is. Maybe your teeth are crooked. Maybe the crooked ones are in the back. Don't worry. Nobody looks that good without a little help, if you know what I mean. And there's the help. Diet Sprite? Sure. It's the only diet soft drink with a great taste of lemon. Are you saying there's hope for people like us? No, I'm just saying there's help.
It's only Diet Sprite for you.
At General Electric, we've got this terrific hang-up about saving space, which is why we've come up with the new Spacemaker 2 microwave oven. It hangs from a kitchen cabinet, leaving lots of usable space underneath. The new Spacemaker 2 oven from GE can take a 16-inch wide casserole and do everything you'd expect a microwave oven to do, except take up counter space.
Available at John Evans Appliances, 359 South State Street, Westerville.
Well, if you were out there tonight, you know it was a madhouse.
That's right. The day after Thanksgiving, as you probably know, is traditionally the busiest shopping day of the entire year. We here in Columbus are certainly no exception. Shopping malls, even the downtown stores, were packed with holiday gift givers. Even CODA's getting into the act. Starting tonight, you can ride any CODA bus any weeknight for a quarter.
I ride it all the time.
They don't have very much down here. And that 25 is kind of enthuse people to come down, so I really think so.
I think it's good because, you know, during the Christmas discount, I didn't know they were charging 25 cents. Well, they are. Well, I think it's good. I'll catch the bus every day.
The 25-cent ride starts every weeknight after 6:30, and of course will end on December 31st. Normally that ride would cost you 60 cents.
A scientist from Cleveland State University has finally proven what lots of parents have suspected for a long, long time, that ads can influence a teenager's drinking habits. Kimberly Nellendorf surveyed 1,200 young people ages 12 to 22 and found that the more ads for alcohol they saw, the more likely they were to drink. And on top of that, the high drinking group also thought it's safer to drive and drink than those who were not exposed to those ads. A California teenager is sweating it out tonight. The FBI and the Los Angeles District Attorney found out that Steve Rhodes has been gaining regular access to a Defense Department computer over the past year. Rhodes reportedly tapped into some classified information. He hasn't been charged yet, but he expects to be at any time. Rhodes was arrested 3 years ago for breaking into a private business computer.
A tragic story from Castres, France. Rescue workers there are still sifting through the wreckage of 2 troop transport planes looking for the bodies of 14 French paratroopers who died when the planes collided in flight. Weather was good when the planes took off from Toulouse Air Base today to practice low-altitude troop drops. Apparently, the wings of one plane clipped the other. They plunged to Earth. It's uncertain if any of the paratroopers were actually bailing out at the time. No word on how many, if any, survived. Well, a quiet, routine day for soldier guards at the DMZ, that line that separated North and South Korea, erupted into a mini-war when a Soviet tourist decided to defect. When the smoke cleared, bodies were everywhere. Jim Laurie has more.
The gun battle occurred here at the truce village of Panmunjom, inside the heavily fortified Korean demilitarized zone. There were no cameras present as a Soviet citizen, apparently a member of a Russian tour group, ran several hundred yards across to the southern side of the zone. At least 20 North Korean troops followed in pursuit. U.S. and South Korean border guards then opened fire. In the shootout, 2 North Koreans and 1 South Korean were killed and the American serviceman wounded. The incident came at a time when it appeared the 2 Koreas were trying to lessen tension between North and South. Only last week it was all smiles and handshakes as the 2 sat down for the first time since the Korean War to discuss the possibility of trade and other economic exchanges. That session was followed this week by Red Cross meetings aimed at reuniting some 10 million families separated since the war. Despite the meetings, though, both sides have charged that the other is talking peace while preparing for war. American military sources report recent redeployments of North Korean armored units closer to the DMZ. Nevertheless, tonight, South Korea sought to play down today's shooting, the Seoul government calling for a meeting here at Panmunjom to discuss ways such incidents can be avoided. Jim Laurie, ABC News, Tokyo.
Another artificial heart transplant operation takes place this weekend.
And our meteorologist, Valerie Voss, gets a little nostalgic tonight. She's going to tell us all about the fabulous 50s. That's next on Nightcast. Stay with us.
When any of my employees need hospital care, it's important they get quality care, but only the care they need, or there go the costs. Well, the Blue Chip program from Blue Cross and Blue Shield certifies the need for that hospitalization ahead of time. This helps contain costs, and my employees still get the best care possible. And that's what really counts.
We call it PACE, packaging affordable coverage for employees. It's another way we plan to save you money.
Ivory's America's favorite soap laundry has come to me. A heritage of purity, a natural kind of clean.
99 and 44/100% pure. It floats. For over 100 years, those words have meant Ivory. Today, Ivory freshens more complexions and helps more people feel clean, look healthy than any other soap. For a natural and pure kind of clean, one soap still rises to the top. Ivory.
We think Dad's original and special mixed dry cat foods are terrific, but it means much more to hear it from you. This letter's from a cat owner in Ohio. She says her Max loves his Dad's original so much, he chewed a hole right through the bag.
Now, we can't guarantee that kind of enthusiasm from your cat, but we do know one thing. Even the most finicky cats won't turn their noses up at Dad's special mix or Dad's original.
This holiday season, why not give gifts of good taste from Big Bear? Delicious fruit baskets, an international selection of tempting cheeses, festive candy assortments, even brilliantly blooming poinsettias are available at Big Bear. And you can make your holiday entertaining carefree with mouth-watering deli trays, custom decorated cakes and pastries. You can even have Big Bear roast your holiday turkey or ham just the way you like it. Make this holiday the best ever with gifts of good taste from Big Bear.
Meteorologist Valerie Voss has been approved by the American Meteorological Society.
I take it those fabulous 50s are not a time reference, but a thermometer reading, huh?
You know very well that the 1950s were before my time.
Of course.
Sure, Val. Sure.
Mine, too.
We're talking about temperatures. I'll bet you thought it'd be spring before it warmed up again. Well, you're wrong. The next couple of days are going to be
They
beautiful.
sound great.
Today wasn't bad either, right?
Very nice.
Beautiful weather for November 23rd. Our high temperature 47, which is right on the money for normals, the low 23, below the normal of 31, not anywhere near the records of 72 and 1. As far as precipitation goes, none today. For the month, we're up about 1 3/4. For the year, we're down about 3 3/4. Snowfall still, 9/10 of an inch so far this season. Right now, Port Columbus, we're at 33 degrees. The humidity, 69%. Winds are from the southeast at 6 miles an hour, bringing us all that warm weather. And the barometer is at 30.26, still nice and high, although it is falling very slowly tonight.